Okay, now we have this expression, this rational expression, and we're going to simplify and determine non-permissibles. So like we did before, the first step is we want to take the denominator and factor. So what's common in this term and this term? Well, 6's. So we get m plus 6n. Okay, so there is our denominator simplified. Now to get the non-permissibles, I take out what's inside there, m plus 6n, I make it equal 0. Now I'm solving for the x, or in this case the m. So I go m equals, this flies over, negative 6n, and does not equal. Okay, so we've done our non-permissible. Now it's time to simplify. So we're going to take this top, and we're going to factor. Okay, so first thing in factoring is GCF. Well, we see a 2 that's common, so take the 2. Always GCF is first. Okay, now we get m squared plus 3m and minus 18n squared. Okay, now can we do anything else? Well, we can see this is a simple trinomial. So we are going to factor that simple trinomial. The 2 just comes down. Okay, now we're looking for numbers that multiply to 18 and add to 6. So we know it's 6 and 3. And we're trying to get a positive 3, so this is a positive, this is a negative. And it's m, it's m. Now because of this n squared, we have to put an n on the ends. Because when we multiply an n by an n, that gets us the n squared. Okay? Okay, there is the top. Now let's bring in the bottom that we simplified. So now this comes down into play. This bottom part. So 6 m plus 6n. Okay, now can we cancel out? Certainly. We have this and this. That cancels. Now, can the numbers out here simplify? And they can, to 1 over 3. Now we just bring in what's left over, and we don't need a 1 now. That's it, was nothing over here, but we have a bracket, so we don't need that one. If we didn't have a bracket, we'd have to keep the 1 in play. All right? So now what's on the bottom? Nothing, because this went to 1 over 3. So my answer is m 3n over 3. Okay? Now I'm just going to show one thing, because this does happen, and I've seen it when I'm marking. People get the answer like that, and for some reason they go cherry picking. And cherry picking is this: they see a 3 there, they see a 3 there, and a 3 there. They cancel out and they leave. Okay, that's wrong. You can't do that. That's called cherry picking. There has to be a 3 in this term, and this term to simplify. All right, topic 2. We are going to multiply now 2 rationals. All right, so the first thing again, as it always will probably say, state the non-permissibles. Okay, and we're pretty good at non-permissibles now. We know those are the bottom, so let's just go back up here. Let's take this and this aside, and let's figure our non-permissibles. So when we factor this, we know it's x plus 3, x minus 3. It's difference of squares. And when we look at this, there's a GCF, there's an x, comes out, and then we got x minus 4. Okay, and now we got the non-permissibles. So let's just do our non-permissibles. So over here, we have a -3, so x cannot equal -3, because it's the opposite of +3. The opposite of -3 is 3. Then when we have an x that's factored out, it's outside here, it's a 0, and then we have the opposite of that is 4. Okay, so we got the non-permissibles. Now it's time to factor. All right, well, we did the bottom. It's right here, 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 and here. Okay, now the top, if we look at this, we know it factors. It's called differences, or pardon me, it's a simple trinomial. Numbers that multiply to 12 and add to -1. So there they are. And now we look over at this side. And the same thing, we're looking for numbers that multiply to 3 and add to 4. And we know -1 and -3 does the job. Okay, now we've done all our factoring. Okay, I did my non-permissible down here, so that's all right. Now it's time to cancel out. Okay, so you can see now, and I'll just go back up here. Once we've done all our factoring here, we can see that this -x minus 4 crosses out, this crosses out, this crosses out. So, I have it down here as well. So you can see now, what are we left with? That is your solution. So we're left with this, so there we are, and we're left with that x on the bottom, there we are. So our answer is x minus 1 over x. All right, so now this is some more simplifying, and we'll just go through one of these because it's pretty much the same, and I'm going to pick the B one. And the reason I picked the B one, because it's a good one, because if you can see right there, we have the opposite rule happening. The opposite rule. Okay, so I know how to do that. We just did it earlier. So take a -1 out, and all that does is it switches it over m squared times, and now I can see this can factor. 3 is common. All right, so now let's do our non-permissibles. So we have an m there, so that's easy. M cannot equal 0. And we have this expression, n minus 2 equals 0, do the algebra, n equals +2. So there are my non-permissibles, okay? All right, now let's do some canceling out. Well, I see this bracket and this bracket are alike. I see an m up here and 2 m's down there, so I take that off, so I'm just left with an m. And so what are we left with? That's it. So let's do some multiplying. -1 times 2 is -2 on top. And on the bottom we have an m times a 3, so we get 3m. So there is our simplified answer. All right. Now we're moving on to division. Well, division is pretty much the same as multiplying. There's only one slight difference, is when you have a division sign, we have a rule called kiss and flip. So a kiss means this division turns to a time sign, just like in letters when you sign letters to someone you love. You say XO, XO. So X is kiss and O is a hug. So we kiss and then we flip. So there we go. Then we factor. B squared minus 4 factors to B minus 2, B plus 2. And nothing else can factor. Now it's cross out time. That and that cancel out. Then we have a 6 and a 3. That and that cancel out. So we get a 1 over a 2. And now we multiply that by that, which is B plus 2, and 2 is left over. So there is our simplified answer, and there is our restriction, or non-permissible. It comes from here, right? Non-permissible. Okay, just about it. So let's just try this one, and we'll do one more, and then we're done. All right, so it's factor time. So let's get our things that we can factor. So let's just start with this one up here. So we know it's a trinomial. So it's a C, it's a C. It's a 7 and a 1, because 1 times 7 is 7, and that's a negative, and that's a positive. Okay. Okay, now down here, that's called difference of squares. So it's going to be C and a C, plus a 7 minus a 7. 7 times 7 is 49. Okay, we got a division sign, so we kiss, and we flip. So this C squared plus 7C is now on the top, and this C, so that just flipped. Okay, so we just flip those. Okay, what can factor up here? Well, a C is common, plus C plus 7. And on the bottom we have a difference of squares again. It's C, and 7, it's easy again, 7 times 1, and it's plus, it's plus. Okay, let's do our non-permissibles. Our non-permissibles here is C cannot equal negative 7, and over here it's negative 1. So there's our non-permissibles. Now it's canceling out time. Okay, so we have C minus 7, C minus 7, C plus 7, C plus 7. I have it there too. You can only cross it once. So I took this one with this one. I can't cross that. But I could have canceled this and that and left this one over here. But it doesn't matter. You can only do one with one. All right, now what are we left with? Well, we're left with this C up top, and on the bottom, C plus 7. Okay, so there's our simplified expression.